Well, let's look at an example. Square. How many of you guys have a Square? Right? It's a neat little device. The key thing to note about this device is it's a tiny little sensor, right? It senses the magnetic strip on a credit card. And then what does it do? It takes that information, it senses it sends it up to the cloud where there's some computation, right? Charging that credit card, and then it actuates back out in the form of an SMS receipt. That's pretty cool, right? Let's look at another example. Uber. How many of you guys have ridden an Uber? I know it's just starting to hit Detroit, right? So what this, the pattern here is that the mobile app is able to sense the location of all of the drivers and all the people who need rides, right? And then software in the cloud matches those people up in the best way. Let's look at another example. Fitbit. How many of you guys have a Fitbit? A lot of people think of Fitbit as a hardware company, but it's not. If you just had that Fitbit, it would be useless to you, right? The product you're actually buying is the software running in the cloud. The Fitbit is just the bridge needed between the existing physical world and the world of software. But the product you're buying is the result of the software, not actually the hardware itself. So there's an interesting pattern you start to see. There's this sort of minimalism to companies who are digitizing more and more of the world and moving it into software. Minimalism in the hardware. Why? Because software is where all the flexibility lives. So you build the minimum amount needed to bridge the physical world into a computer, and then everything else is software. Let's take a look at a few examples, right? If you are not a software person, this is your cable remote. This is the cable remote you design. And you advertise, it's got 104 magnificent keys on it. But guess what? This remote won't do anything that it wasn't designed to do on the day it was manufactured in some factory. Right? Here's what software people do. That's the remote a software person designs. Why? Because it's got the bare minimum number of buttons that you need to be able to control the software. Because everything you bake into hardware, you can't change later. But software you can, and Apple TV ships updates all the time. New features, new functionality, new channels, fix bugs, respond to the competition. Right? That's pretty cool. That's the pace at which software people operate. And the hardware is there just to support the advancement of the software people. Let's look at another example, payments. Right? Not software people give you that device. How many of you guys have seen that sitting on the counter at some corner store, right? So what happens when I'm a merchant and I got that thing sitting on my counter and I want to take a new form of payment? Well, I throw that thing away and I buy a new one. Or better yet, I put another one next to this one. How many of you guys have seen that? There's like multiple of them sitting all next to each other on the counter there. Right? That's because everything that this box will ever do was embedded in it at the time it was manufactured. You can't teach it new tricks. But software people think differently. Right? Software people have that minimal dongle, and then Square is fully software. That minimal amount needed to sense the world. And that software is what's key, because the software can be updated all the time. Add new features, new functionality. Iterate quickly, listen to your customers, fix bugs, beat your competition.